You're listening to the Modern Saxophonist Podcast.
Welcome to the Modern Saxophonist Podcast. I'm your host, Mark MacArthur. Today is February 4th, 2017, and I am going solo. That's right. I have no Wookiee with me today, and in this, who knows what I'm going to say, and hopefully I do, right? So what is happening is I've decided to do a little bit of, every once in a while, my own personal audio blog and just little impressions and things that kind of come to my mind. I am not looking to really do this as the core of the podcast for sure, but as I'm sure all of you are not completely interested in hearing just what I have to say, and I'm not really into listening to myself that much either. But I do have sometimes I do have a few things I'd love to get off my chest and say, and I want to honor every single one of our guests who happen to come on the show, and with their time and with their specialties, and make sure that they come out and get highlighted, because there's so many good things happening in the saxophone world. I think it was Dr. Jonathan Nickel in his episode that emphasized this is the golden age of saxophone. He might have even put on a spin that it was academic, but all in all, I think it's golden age of saxophone. Today, with the information we have available, the massive amounts of people who are teaching saxophone, and then the universities that do have professors that now have either full-time or adjunct positions that are influencing both in a classical and a jazz way, and both with the same person. Go surprise, surprise. This is happening quite all over the place, and the results are astounding, because what we're starting to see is that the quality, the virtuosity, the artistic statements being made by saxophonists all around the world is just increasing. And how do we know this? Because we all have access to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and whatever social outlet you like. I haven't really ventured into the Snapchat land. I've only briefly enjoyed LinkedIn. I think it's a little too formal for me. And I think in all of its grandeur, I do believe that we have seen quite a revolution of awareness of saxophone. It's just awesome. And boy, I've really enjoyed this past little bit. Just promoting a few guys. I feel good when I do it. I feel good when I look out there and I see that something's happening in saxophone. It may not be the most important, it's not like this is the most important moment in saxophone history. Well, I don't know. I'll leave the importance to the people who end up defining that and putting that in our history books. That's perfectly fine. It probably won't be me. Me writing history books is probably not a good idea. However, get Dr. Andrew Allen on that. Man, that guy can write, and is just a history buff. Boy, I love talking to Dr. Andrew Allen, and I know he's listening, so shout out to you, brother. And I also just absolutely gotta say that the information available about teaching techniques, the actual pedagogy of how to do this on the instrument is not only in written form, but video, audio, You can go on SoundCloud, check out different players, just different approaches to tone and just everything. It's just amazing what wealth of information we actually have. Whether you're accessing it or not, I guess is on you. I've thought about that a lot, especially with my students, is going, hey, why don't you go check this out, and then follow the Facebook trail or the YouTube trail. You just kind of click on one performance and then find out what other performances of that same piece or just others that you'd like to look, and just go like 7 layers deep and see what you find. I think really, who follows those rabbit trails? Who actually goes on there? I don't know. I do have a student that does. This guy, Justin, man, I got to tell you, he's even a non-major, and that dude just loves saxophone. And love it when he just brings new pieces, new approaches, new everything. He's just a saxophone nut, and that is why those are the kind of things and kind of people we're trying to reach with this podcast for sure. If you're listening to this, obviously you're a little saxophone crazed. There's no doubt about that. There is no necessary enthusiasm jolt that you need. It seems a little bit like you just need a little fix. And so, yeah, I'm glad to give you that fix. We'll hook it up. And I think in general, you're going to be very happy with what we've got coming up. And I'm excited. I'm just blown away by the response from our community and people who like to talk on the podcast, and therefore get their ideas out. Now, that's it. This podcast is about ideas. Oh my gosh. Like actually having a conversation. What? We can actually talk and not chew each other's heads off. And by the way, that was my perception when I was in school, incorrectly so, but it was my perception because you get a conference and people come together and they talk, but then when they go apart, like, I don't know, man, I sometimes I see people pointing fingers like crazy, and I was a part of it. And I even brought it up with students yesterday in a masterclass of how Kenny G was the first person who I got me into saxophone. I wanted to be Kenny G. I don't have curly hair, and actually at this point in time, God has been so gracious to eliminate my hair issues by having me go bald. But so I guess I could get a wig, but still wouldn't make me at this point be able to be Kenny G, because there is only one Kenny G, and I think it's probably best that I leave it there. But I have to admit, for years I bashed Kenny G. And some of you are laughing right now because you're like, no, don't take it back. Don't do it. You know what, folks? I'm taking it back. There is absolutely, in my book, I don't care what Kenny G has done. I don't care what weight or expectation has been placed on the man to represent our instrument in any way, shape, or form. That is something that he completely did not agree to. I think in a way, and he could speak fine for himself, and I may be missing the boat on a couple of things. Look, I read that Pat Metheny response to his wonderful life recording over playing with Louis Armstrong, and I got my own personal take on that, which is pretty close to alignment with Pat Metheny, but that shouldn't define an entire career, an entire person, an entire worth, an entire value of content. Look, when you start creating some type of branding, you got to go with the brand. It's almost its separate entity, but in a lot of ways, I don't know, folks. I'm not, like I say, Kenny G's not on my playlist right now, but he got me into saxophone. I got him credit, and he got a lot of you in too. Just admit it. It's okay. take a deep breath. But part of it is I just want to clear my heart because I don't want to hold anything for anybody at this point. So Kenny G, you're all right in my book. And I think there's a lot of other people that can say that for a lot of things. So in that, I've been noticing what an amazing breed of saxophone professors, teachers, talkers that we have in this world today, and we've had quite a few on already, and every single time there is a huge rush of encouragement that has happened with me and my students. I am so thrilled to see the reactions of my students and how they take the information. They go, "Oh my God, I never thought of that before," and they start implementing. I mean, I'm going to throw James Barrera a bone here that his discussion on the Lindemann method has effectively changed just enough of my perception of air and fingers to the degree where it has now in one short week allowed some of my students the opportunity to rethink their fingers and effectively get closer technique and become more relaxed in their playing. Holy mackerel, that came from a conversation. What? I mean, if you think about that, I mean, we all have our focuses and things that become important to you. I mean, I've heard about there's 10 different musical intelligences. You know, you're primarily a rhythm person. You're primarily, a balance type person, I keep on going through, or a melody person versus harmony. I keep on thinking about all this, and I'm going, well, I think there's several saxophone intelligence that we have, things that we focus on. I have to admit that I'm kind of a tone pedagogy guy. Everything that happens pre-vibration, and how critical that is to be able to be aware of, so that we check that first, making sure that we're ready to go. And I have to admit, sometimes I have neglected the fingers too much. So need to work on my post-vibration pedagogy. And I have to give James Barrera a huge amount of credit for opening eyes. Now, I got to ask you, our audience, what has been the thing that's opened your eyes? Which of these episodes hit you? Was it like Mike Keep talking about the Hollywood Saxophone Quartet, and that struck a chord with you because you've been a part of that generation, of that push that happened with those guys? Was it the Dr. Ronna Taylor improvising on some classical in a way that's completely unique and avant-garde did that spark your interest, and did you start going and get some Abletons, get some things going? I mean, which one was it? Was it Dr. Andrew Allen talking about his dissertation on saxophone ensemble, and now all of a sudden you're doing a saxophone ensemble, or you're a part of it, and it just enlightened you more? I mean, I think of the things that has impacted me from the conversations, and I'm actually going to say part of it too is relationship. I feel like, I know these people better. It's amazing what happens when you ask them questions about what they do. They just talk. I mean, have you ever gone up to a person after a concert and just said, "Hey, how are you? Can I ask you some questions?" And then start talking about the pieces they just performed. I mean, they just performed the pieces. They're going to know something about those pieces that you don't know. Well, that's all I'm doing here on the podcast, is I'm noticing some things. Now, and I just want to highlight what they're doing. And boy, it sure is a lot of fun when they say yes. And I've had several people now say yes. In fact, the flow is amazing. Hey, we got a lot of great episodes coming up. In fact, I just got, I was inspired. I'm a football fan, a huge football fan, and a huge, sports fan. Let's just say it. And my biggest sport is hockey. I love hockey, and I got to tell you, one of the saxophonists out there that has a huge, he's going to be on the podcast on Monday, is Dave Camino, and we're going to talk about technology. But boy, that guy is so into hockey that huge Flames fan. That and they're doing well this year. My Tampa Bay Lightning are not, unfortunately. And huge shout out to Bradley Schlitt. You are we're huge Tampa Bay Lightning fans together, brother. And it's a sad year right now. And but for Dave, things are looking up. And so Dave has his Canada goalie mask, and he goes out there and he plays hockey. In a league, and I got to tell you, folks, it's good to have some other interest, and that is one of the coolest. And so I give Dave a huge shout out, and I love the fact that we can talk about something even other than saxophone and still have those saxophone talks. So I got to tell you, folks, relationships is important. I love building relationships. I love talking, and that experience going up to Midwest this year with the Desert Winds was out of this world. Just getting to reconnect with people and then make new connections. Got to see J. Michael Holmes up there, and huge shout out to you, brother. It was fun seeing you support the North American Saxophone Alliance there and create some connections. And guys, and I ran into Dr. Tim McAllister as well. He had some fantastic performances. Met Steve Temmie with the Marine Band. My gosh, those guys sounded good. I got to, in fact, that concert, I got to sit next to one of my favorite people in the world, David Mislenka. My gosh, that man is just you spend just a few minutes with David Mislenka, and just the whole entire world seems all right. And his music makes me feel that way too. And I love the man's sincerity and his friendship. And got to hang out with his son a little bit and talk to his son while at the booth. Love that father-son team. They're doing great. And speak of another father-son team, was actually running into John Nickel and his son, Dr. Jonathan Nickel. And so both and heard that clinic with Joe Luloff and John Nickel, and my guys, that was beautifully done. Way to present to band directors, absolutely a gem of a lecture. And then for John Nickel to close that off, where we just need to come together, share ideas, no matter if we're at competing schools or competing whatever. There is. It really is a true show of what it means to be a colleague and be collegial. So I was so encouraged by that experience. So, hey, look, I was on this NFL kick, and so let's get back to that. And so here's what happened: is I watched that Atlanta Falcon and Green Bay game, and my heart is just broken over the Green Bay Packers losing. I was born in Green Bay. I'm a Packer backer. I grew up in Tampa Bay. I'm also a anything Tampa fan, and so the Bucks are there. In fact, when I was growing up, we had the Battle of the Bays. Oh my gosh, and that was always fun. You got to root for both teams, and boy, I got a lot of junk for that too. So anyway, here I am watching this game, and the national anthem happens, and this guy Mike Phillips comes out and just plays a beautiful version of the national anthem. Everybody's going crazy. I mean, Twitter's blowing up, Facebook's blowing up. This guy's, hashtag sax anthem or saxthum just plug that in. You get to see all those nice things that were said. And so today I went and sent Mike a little, hey, how you doing, man? I just want to congratulate you on that. And lo and behold, he's, we might have him on the podcast here shortly to get this story. Boy, looking forward to that. And those are the kind of things. I mean, my gosh. I mean, how cool is that? You play the national anthem, most recognized tune in the entire world. You do your own little spin on it, whether somebody has that's a great thing to do or not. It was his thing to do. And I got to throw out mad respect to Mike. Congratulations. And way to represent saxophone, and just a sweetheart of a man too. I saw one of those interviews, and I got to tell you, he seems like the right dude to say a few things for saxophone land, and well worth the listen. And thank you very much, for the interest. And so I'm just in awe. Like, these are the kind of things that get me. And so now, before I go on, I would like to just do a quick our first advertisement. That's right, folks. We are now. We've started out, we've done this, but now it's time to move into a new realm, getting this thing funded and supported in a way that is beneficial to being allow me to do some things. I would love to eventually be able to go to conferences, be able to go out to some of these summer workshops and whatnot, interview people, and get a little bit of a little different live take, or just do something interesting, like make this like some saxophone media thing. We've got the brand together now, and I want to do things to support the brand. And if that means that you've got a brand that you'd like to be supported, I would like to help support your brand and get the word out. I know that that's the whole point of advertising, but I know this. We've got a very dedicated batch of listeners, and so if you'd like to reach them, just reach out with an email. But here's our first ad. Tomorrow is the Super Bowl, and I am inviting you to join me playing this brand new app called Fire Fan. And this is an interesting take on gaming for an app space. Most of the time, if you think about Candy Crush, you think about all those others, and just like it's kind of a stagnant game, and it's just event based within the game. This one actually is to be played along with live sports. So as you're watching the Super Bowl, you will be able to actually make predictive things, who's going to score a touchdown, what's going to happen the next drive. Is it going to be a touchdown? Is it going to be a field goal? Blah, 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 and all those kind of things. Now, a reason I'm inviting you is that it also has a social component to it, in which during the game we can actually talk and have a great time talking about saxophone and getting together. And I think it's a great vehicle. My family is really reconnected. We've got some cousins and long lost cousins, long lost friends, and heck, even my 74-year-old dad loves it. Now, here's what I'm asking you to do. Download FireFan in your App Store or Google Play Store, and get as you get your little password and log in, and then what you do is there will be a little code that pops up. Do you have a player code? And I am going to give you one right now, and it's Saxman, all one word, SAXMAN. That's right. I know you're laughing right now or have a little giggle, but that means that everybody is going to remember Saxman. And so I want you to plug in that, and that's my code. And in doing so, you will help support the Modern Saxophonist podcast. And so go through the process of filling out your profile. It should probably only take about 3 minutes. And then once you get in, I want you to go find me and follow. It's really important because I can't follow you back unless you follow me. And then what I'd like you to do is join my league, Sax Clan. And you'll notice that I have, on that Sax Clan, I've put the Modern Saxophonist logo on there. And I want that to just be a place where we can all get together and chat. So, there's the challenge. Go out, download Firefan, use Saxman as the code, and then join my league, Sax Clan. And then, of course, play the Super Bowl with me. And then after that, we've got basketball. They're going to come out with baseball and just about any other professional and hopefully college sports eventually. And it's just a fun game. I'm addicted, and it's the way I've chosen. This is how I'm going to watch sports from now on. So thanks a lot for that, Firefan, and now moving on. So I just want to say that our numbers have. I want to just go over something real quick. I can't believe this, but we have actually been listened to in 57 different countries. Can you believe that? 57 different countries have downloaded an episode of the Modern Saxophone Podcast. It just kind of blows me away. I just sit here and I think about the honor it is to be able to speak into a mic. I'm sitting in my house right now in Las Vegas, Nevada, and someplace around the world. Heck, I mean, there's places like Azerbaijan and Iran. I know, Iran. Somebody's listening in Iran. Israel. And I gotta give a huge shout out to our few biggest ones, which is all of our guys over in the UK, Canada. But recently, there's a big glob of guys and gals over in Taiwan that has found the podcast. And thank you for all the downloads and listens over there. Keep on sharing. Keep on doing it. And then also down in Brazil, we've got quite a following. But now in the States, I gotta throw this out. When I started this podcast, it was about getting listeners in Nevada. Well, check this out. Nevada is #1 state for listening. Who knew that would happen? Well, probably because I'm here and I'm telling people here in Nevada, and it was certainly to bring the voice of saxophone to my region, because a lot of times we're not able to get a lot here in Nevada of outside influence, and so this is just my way of doing it. And wow, it has really gotten a lot of response. So thank you for all the students, all the band directors, all of the saxophone enthusiasts here in the Las Vegas Valley and Nevada as a whole. Just to really appreciate everyone for all the support. And now it's time for everyone else to step up the game. Let's share and get the word out. We've got so many good things happening, and the best part is it's all archived, so you can just go back and listen to them all, and really, really appreciate any kind of comments that you've got. And one of the things I love I just checked the iTunes store and see how many comments we've got. We've got 2. That's it. 2. That's not enough. We need to get we need to reach a few more people. In order to do so on iTunes to get a favorable rate, we need more ratings to happen. So I'm charging you. Please take the 30 seconds it takes to go to iTunes store and put in a 5-star and a comment, that something that has impacted you, that will draw other saxophonists to enjoy this experience of the Modern Saxophonist Podcast. And so thank you for doing that. And just in general, I just want to say, I know I mentioned a few things that I've learned, from a couple of the guys on here. I know you have too. And so we're looking to cover topics, and I'm doing a call to action right now. If you happen to have something that you'd like to hear us talk about here, I'd be more than happy to accommodate. A lot of times I just get ideas, our guests have given us ideas for sure. And an off mic, they've given me ideas, and some of it's implementations that we can do right now, and some of it's going to be over time. But I know this, sometimes in a conversation format, things can be covered that you necessarily wouldn't get in another way. And so let's get the challenge out. Go ahead and email us some thoughts, and would love to hear from students, especially on anything that has encouraged you and you would like to hear about from our next panel discussion, or any guests that you would like to see on. So there's that. And so one last thing I'd like to cover on this first foray into the solo episode is that in this process of developing the podcast, it's kind of caught me off guard. And part of it is I was doing everything I could to do the podcast right. I think you just start, and I had to learn how to, 1, create a website, 2, create a RSS feed, 3, decide which provider for the podcast to do all the uploads and do everything. I chose Libsyn.com. Then I had to learn how to audio edit for voice. I had to just put together a bump music and try to get a creative idea. So I didn't, it's there. And then I just tried to, then it's like, okay, so how do we develop this? I think back to the first few things we wanted to get out of this, which primarily is an education based approach. And we're still there, but I think back to some of my early ways of thinking about how this should go it's not happening. But I love where it's developed into. And so there was a pause that happened. And in that pause, I had to kind of do some soul searching. And what I really didn't realize is what I had done is created a brand, a recognizable brand, and a brand that many people enjoyed. I did get several comments leading into heading to Midwest and at Midwest that really impacted me. And I want to appreciate those people that spoke into my life and said, wow, this is great. I'm glad you're doing this. Can I come on? And now, I can't discount encouragement. Folks, like take a moment whenever you get a chance to encourage. It's really helpful. And the digital format, a lot of times, I think, I'm just going to say this about social media, my perception of this past season of watching not only us post puppy dogs and cats and food choices for the evening, I've noticed that many of the things that end up getting clicks are things that are negative commentary on just about anything. And yes, that does include politics. And so the interesting thing is that when a positive post ends up going out there, especially about saxophone, I'm just looking around. I'm not seeing many likes, like hearts, or laughs, or shares. And as a community, I think we can do a lot better. And I'm not talking about the podcast. I mean, look, hardly, we get a few shares here and there. Not many. I'm sure people are just seeing it from the feed and going, and it's just kind of naturally progressing. but we don't get a lot of shares. But I see this as systematic across the board for many, especially in the classical saxophone realm, and but even in the jazz realm. I mean, I'm not seeing it was somebody, a great jazz player posts something and there's like two shares. I mean, there may be like 50 likes, good, and I know this when I post something about saxophone, tends to not get that many, but most of them are actually my family and not necessarily from the larger saxophone community. But I do notice that there are some professors and some enthusiasts that are committed to posting and sharing. Now, as an experiment, the other day, I watched with one of my students in his lesson for just 7 minutes to watch Joe Luloff on his live stream perform the Sonata for Alto Saxophone and Piano by Machinsky. And first of all, what a beautiful performance. It was an amazing experience sitting there and being able to feel like we're in the same room. And just watching him play, knowing that it's live happening. My student got so much out of it. He actually, when we got done, he turned it back on and just watched the rest of it. And but I'm wondering, and I post a response, and I got to give Joe Luloff props for responding back to me. Thank you, Joe. And it proved my point. Is this? I went and said, I posted a picture of me and my student with a screenshot of Joe Luloff playing, not a screenshot. It was while it was happening. And then Joe Luloff replied and said, thanks, that's great that technology is bringing us together. And it is true, technology is bringing us together, but we've got to use it. And I'm just wondering how, I was just wondering how many of you are actually live streaming your performances, and I'd just love to be made aware of that more. I mean, I don't mind from the modern saxophonist, especially Twitter feed or whatever, just to post it and blast it out. I mean, this is about advocacy for our instrument and for those who are proud enough of their work to just put it out there for everybody to experience. And I just sometimes I'm just amazed by the serious lack of shares. Now, social media, I mean, we may be too locked up in a practice room to get our heads out of our stands in order to appreciate what somebody else is doing, or we're too critical of ourselves to even allow ourselves to think that stopping for a second and appreciating what somebody else's work is appropriate. Let me just give you permission. It is completely appropriate. That's how we get inspired. That's how we keep going. I mean, you beat yourself up over not being able to get a particular passage with those particular articulations in that particular dynamic range with the intonation that is absolutely difficult in that area. And here you are trying to get it all coordinated, and you're frustrated, and you're basically wanting to smash all of your reeds against the wall, throw your saxophone across the parking lot, and say, I'm going to go flip burgers. And then you walk out, and it might be good to just, well, at that point, take a break, man. Seriously. Don't get your head spinning that bad, but maybe you should turn on another saxophonist and enjoy what they're doing. I have to say, here's a secret, and I think I really see this with successful people that are dear to me, that they love promoting other people. And when they promote other people, they just makes me want to promote them. And maybe there's a secret here, is maybe let's start picking a few people. It may not be the people we know or have taught us or are the most influential people in our world. And you've committed that is the only route you go, is to just promote the people that are are in your immediate path. That's fine. That's good. That's good. But I encourage you, if you're that type of person, at least like a saxophone page. It doesn't speak anything poorly of you that you are supporting another saxophonist. In fact, it says everything highly of you in my book, and I think in many others. And one of the guys that I really, really love when he posts a new video is Derek Brown. My gosh, I love this bebop sax. How you take a bunch of slap-tonguing, multiphonic, all the extended techniques, circular breathing, whatever, and here he is just killing it, having a blast, touring the world, and putting on some videos that are just cool. And I shared one of his videos a while back, and he got back. He's like, "Thanks for the share, man." I'm like, are you kidding me? Why are people not sharing this? I mean, are we that finicky? Seriously, are we that finicky that we can't share somebody else's work that's happening? Now, I get it that we're busy and sometimes it does get in our feed and blah, blah, blah. But if it gets in your feed, take the opportunity to get it in somebody else's feed. I mean, that's the way this social media algorithms work. If a post doesn't get likes within like the first, I think, 6 hours, 6 to 12 hours, it doesn't really pop up in other people's feeds. And other than like, say, close family members or close followers. Well, let's not leave it to that. If you happen to see it, let's get the word out. Don't protect your feed as if it's some sacred thing. And if that is your deal, I'll leave you to that. But look, if you're a saxophonist and you're committed to promoting saxophone, let's promote saxophone in general. Let it be an encouragement. Let it be a way to get the word out. If you're on Twitter, just give a heart. I mean, that's pretty easy, right? Right? And it doesn't ruin your feed or anything. You just hit a heart. Maybe we should stop protecting our own thing and our own brand, and we should start promoting others. Because look, this saxophone community, we are way smaller than you think. It is amazing how small we are. And if we keep on being a little divided and not helping each other, there's a pretty good chance we're going to stay small. And I'm not asking for us to start growing immensely. I'm just asking, like, if there's things of quality and interest going on, just go ahead and promote it. And if you have a problem with people doing self-promotion, I think you need to come into the 21st century of saxophonist. I mean, I had to get there. Now that I got this podcast, I realize, oh my gosh, it really, you got to learn how to be a self-promoter. You can't just sit there and just go, well, people will come, or the institutions that exist will take care of me. No, that's not the way it is. And so go ahead and get out there, push a share, push a like, push a button, and get some people to enjoy. Because I would, and I love watching these. Now, I don't have time to watch all of them. Neither does anybody else. But you've got time to push share, watch a few, like a minute or two of it, and go, man, that was cool. I think some other saxophonists like that. That is what I'm talking about. So, well, I think this should be the end of my Saturday afternoon rant on February 4th, 2017. One day before the Super Bowl, and I want to remind you to come join me and play some Fire Fan, have some fun, talk a little sax talk, and get on with our day. And so, with that, thanks for listening, and let's get practicing.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Modern Saxophonist Podcast. You can find us at www.themodernsaxophonist.com. We're also on Twitter @themodernsax.